Hey Magpie fans, it's Mark Diaz-Truman, creator of Our Last Best Hope. You've accessed Vid 5, Touchstones. Now, character creation starts with the players picking a name and a role, one of the four main roles of the game: engineer, scientist, doctor, or soldier. In our last video, we covered that, so you can go back and look at Vid 4 if you have questions about picking a role or what the basic role abilities do. But there's a second step to character creation called Touchstones. Let's go back to Jorge. For a different game, Jorge picks Doctor as his role and creates his character by writing his name on the front of the card and his role ability below his name. To do the second step, the Touchstone, Jorge writes something he brought with him, a sense of justice, and something he left behind, his brother, Paul. Each of these will have a mechanical effect later in the game. At some point when he needs an extra white die, Jorge could tap his sense of justice and get an extra die just simply for standing up for what he believes in. Jorge could also use what he left behind to do a flashback scene about leaving his brother, Paul. This flashback scene would get him an additional white die. Touchstones can be varied. They might be emotional states or painful memories, like crippling alcoholism or the death of my father. Or they could be physical things, like my favorite record collection or my lucky rabbit's foot. Each one can fit into the story however you would like. Someone who's an alcoholic might find a shot of vodka is all they need to beat down the door and stop the alien invaders, and someone who brings a lucky baseball might be able to throw it across the room to keep the engine from overloading. By the same token, what you left behind will be a flashback scene, and so you can use a variety of different left behinds to fit your character. For example, you might say, I left behind my crippling alcoholism, and remember the day that you quit drinking. Or you could leave behind a physical thing or person, a dog or a family member, and be able to have a scene where you say goodbye to that person. Many of these come up in Act 2 of the game and are some of the most touching moments. When someone says that they want to do a flashback scene, it's definitely a time for the group to stop and pay attention. In fact, the only people who can use their touchstones during a threat scene are the people who have actively taken on the threat, meaning only if it's your threat do you get to steal the spotlight and focus only on your character.